Are we going to slap some numbers? What are we doing?
We're going to slap some numbers. This is episode number 259.
There we go. 59. 69? No.
59.
Takes 2 to 69. Okay, that's in a few. Okay. Well, welcome everybody. This is our weekly talk show with that's a young impaler over there, and I'm lost. I'm about to float away. We had some serious rain here. It always seems to be one or the other. We're in this massive drought in the summer, and now we got this massive rain. I'm building a little ark outside, and I'm going to get a bunch of animals on there and shoot some videos of some sexy time. But anyway, so what's going on in Impaler Land over there? The island of the Impaler.
Impaler Land. What am I doing? I've been I'm catching up on Prodigious Saps.
What's that?
Prodigious Saps is the other podcast I do with my friend Brendan. It's the very nerdy, much nerdier podcast than this one. What's funny is that sometimes when I record those shows, I'll still have stuff up from, like I had an Elvis DVD behind me because we were talking about Elvis a couple weeks ago. And Brendan will comment on it. And he shared something with me I didn't know before, was that the Vegas, Elvis's classic Vegas getup with the cape and everything was based on a comic book character. Did you know that?
I did not know that.
That's where he got the idea from. Was Captain Marvel Jr. is where he got that. Apparently, even his hairstyle with the curl and all that stuff was based on that. So that, and now the lightning bolt too. It's like the Captain Marvel lightning bolt, the TCB. So he was a bit of a nerd, that Elvis.
Oh, I'm going to need a moment. Yes, that last Elvis episode pushed me back into some of those older songs I used to cover. Love Me, Don't Be Cruel, Blue Moon of Kentucky, all this stuff. I was playing around with them the other day on the acoustic, just so many songs, and it was funny the transition into that Elvis Vegas scene. That's that time. He kind of not kind of 100% just like cut off the 50s and 60s and went right into that gaudy, soupy big band versions of these songs, which I mentioned before. Pogue Salad Annie always comes to mind as I forget who it was, but somebody said he's fucking singing about salad. What were he singing about vegetables? What the hell is wrong with him? Yes, he was, but again, just because I'm a fan, so it's difficult to. It's easy to see how goofy that would sound and look to other people, but still, his voice and the power and that dynamics in that band and the backing vocals and the pomp and the experience of that. It was definitely the progression that it needed to take. I think he could have done without the movies, those crappy movies. But I think musically, I think that was the way it went. The band was smoking, just smoking. Jerry.
Oh yeah.
I mean, the language. We talk about this in the woodshed when we've talked about it many times as well on SlapperCast. We have talked about how you develop a conversation without it's just in the ethos. It's just there's no signal, but we're all thinking the same thing because you develop this language in music and it transcends even thought. It's just one of these things. Yeah, that's exactly where we're going to go. The music just goes that way because we've been playing together so long, and we these rehearsals are so they're not scripted, but they are scripted in that we all kind of know what the song needs at that moment. When we're doing original ideas and just back and forth, and it's just. But that band on stage looked like they rehearsed their asses off. There's no question there, but still on stage. I mean, he could do anything, and that band was right there on him. There was no, So as gaudy and as goofy and as just, however people perceived it, that 70s stuff to me was just so beautiful because it was so rich in texture. had so many different layers of great musicianship and all led by Elvis's wonderful rhythm and his great sense of humor. Watch when they would, when they would when he'd walk the stage and he'd get the silk scarves and he'd hand them out to the audience. I mean, that band was still, smoking in the pocket on that,
Yeah. Some of the humor just said, we talked, I was rhapsodizing about his humor a couple episodes ago, but it's just, I put this at the beginning of that episode was where, from one of his live shows where he's starting, I Got a Woman, which, was one of my favorite, covers that he does. He starts off and he's going, like repeatedly clearing his throat. And then he kind of turns and looks at the backup singers and like going, it was pretty funny. Because that is our sense of humor, that we've been doing that kind of crap in the band the whole damn time. So it's like, I see that and I'm like, I love that guy. As Turbo would say, if he was here, we perceive him as like this god of entertainment. But when you see him doing these jokes, it kind of brings him down to earth. And it's like, he's like a buddy,
Yeah.
And it's one of the most, I think that has a lot to do with why people love him so much, is that he feels like family in a way. At the same time, he is the king as well. So it's a special place that he holds.
Yeah. And again, he was it was such a different landscape back then. Musically, it was such a different landscape because although there was, I'm sure, 1 million bands, 100 million bands, whatever there was, there still was that focus on him, he was under a magnifying glass for so long. He was part of the American, people would think of McDonald's and Elvis, or Elvis and McDonald, I don't know if there's ever been a bigger name, than Elvis. And you know what I mean? And it just world, just known well, you could, drop somebody in the middle of the rainforest and, people would have heard of him. His style and, like you say, his humor and all that stuff, you can't teach that, nor can you. He did have his yes men around him. He had good one. He had that, especially at the end, because people needed to. They needed or they craved that. His limelight, but they also needed that job. They needed job security. So you want to be the yes man. You want to be the. You don't want to get in his bad side. You don't want to be ousted. And you don't want to be. So he did have that, but at the same time. Go back early. I often talk about the Beatles, how they were tremendous in interviews, just slapstick, funny, thought-provoking, and bratty. Extremely not ill will, but this cutting humor. I mean, do not dare to ask them a silly question because you will get ripped apart. I mean, devoured. And another person like that was Dave Letterman, who I thought was just, if you were not on, and I hate that A game, I hate that saying, but if you weren't on in top form when you're in the company of that, that's it. And Elvis was a lot, because there was only one, because he didn't have 3 other guys to joke around with or to riff off. He had his God, I have 1,000 thoughts, because I picture these interviews where he starts laughing and he cracks himself up, because I think what he's doing is he's taking these situations and because there's only him, he can't tell you the preface or the base of it, but he's recalling these jokes, these humorous moments in a, maybe on a stage or maybe in a rehearsal or somewhere studio, and he can't. Like you say, you can't riff off anybody, so he's got to do it all himself. So that side of him, was good. But at the same time, if you asked him a silly question, Elvis would seem to be a little bit more kind, because he's not going to. But you could see him. You could see that, that demon, that, because he did have that. He did have that very, very, very. I wouldn't say dark sense of humor, but he did have a cutting, sense of humor, if need be.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, I think the 70s, I love the 68 comeback special. I love that as a just as a musical, moment in time. But the 70s, to me, that 70s Vegas Elvis is still some of my favorite stuff. When I'm in a studio, I'll ask for that kind of vocal effect, because I just love that rich, wet, just big sound, then and
Mm-hmm.
yes, his voice was 99% of it, but still there was a lot of really, really good production on that.
Yeah. I was thinking about this. We were fantasizing last Elvis episode about people we would have loved to see him collaborate with,
Yeah.
Given the chance. And I was just now thinking, man, wouldn't it be cool if both he and Phil Lynott had survived long enough to do something together?
Yeah.
Because Phil, it's kind of that documentary I watched kind of glossed over it a bit. His career after Thin Lizzy broke up, and up until he died. That the early '80s, with that 2-year period, I guess it was '84. He didn't like go into that downward spiral immediately. I mean, he was pretty busy at first. I saw some footage of him from like '82, and he looks just completely bright and bushy tailed, looks totally healthy. But something obviously happened in '86 where he just went off the deep end. But there's the stuff he did with Mark Knopfler. There's this video out there of him performing that song that he did with them on his solo album. It's fantastic. It's fucking fantastic, and that gets buried. Yeah. It's like you look at that. It's like it's like a dream. Like, wouldn't it be great if you worked with Mark Knopfler? He did.
Yeah,
go watch it.
That vocal, like I said, that vocal production on his, that studio work that they did on his voice. I mean, that's exactly that's all. I mean, of course, the song's about him, but it's still that's that rich tone I'm talking about. That's that,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, just so amazing. His solo records and his poetry and stuff like that, which I still love. I just love that Phil was able to, Thin Lizzy afforded him the recognition, the name recognition and the clout to go out and put together, whatever band he wanted to and sing in whatever, genre, he decided to take on, Jamaican Rum, Solo in Soho, Dear Miss Lonely Hearts. What a brilliant, and boy, talk about a snippet in time too. His Dear Miss Lonely Hearts. That was such a huge moment at that time for the people to write in. The at the back of the newspaper, you'd find the wanted ads and the self-help, the dear, whatever her name was, the therapist that would
the personals.
Yes. Yeah. Thank you. Fucking 40 minutes later. God, yeah. But that was such an amazing, I heard stories too of people writing in saying, I saw this chick on the bus and she was lovely. She had frosted blonde hair and a mini skirt and I love her. I'd like to meet her again. Give me and people meeting like that, people reading the what the fuck is that? I mean,
it's me.
Today, Elvis, the 68 comeback special, to me, that's timeless. It will always sound wonderful. The 70s stuff does to me sounds dated, and it sounded dated in the 80s. It was very, 50s and 60s. Yeah, that stuff is timeless. Beatles, timeless. But so let's go fast forward into the 80s when all the new wave, what they call new wave and the punk and all that stuff. To me, that stuff is, love it or not, it's still, it was stale, not stale, but you know what I mean, like dated. You knew what time it was from, and it didn't hold like a Mark Knopfler tune, or better still, a Shane MacGowan song. There you go. Shane MacGowan, you could play Broad Majestic Shannon you could play it, although it wasn't written, in the 50s, and you can play it 10 years from now, and it's still going to sound as bright and beautiful as And to me, that doesn't make it good or bad. People are going to love it no matter what. If it touches you the right way, if it moves you, it's going to be. It doesn't matter if it's time. But those songs, and stale is the wrong word, but you know what I mean. They just sounded like they were just completely out of sync with the moment. Out of it's not the flavor of today. I saw a great interview with a couple of the old Dire Straits players, and they were talking about modern music, and they said, we're careful not to dog. They didn't use that word, but they said, to put down any of the artists today, and which there are phenomenal artists, they said, because our parents and all those that came before us always put down our music and put down what we're listening to. And I thought, man, I need to kill a song again. No, I thought, I thought to myself, I said, self, you need, I'm just opinionated. I'm extremely opinionated, and songs that like piss me off. I saw another great clip of that, your favorite band, Chad, Mötley Crüe. I saw that guy singing. Vince Neil, thank you. Yes, he was. Are you serious? Are you live right now? Of course, it was live, and I was like, "What are you doing?" And then the backing vocals came in, and I swear to God, I mean, I'll bet my life on it. There was nothing live. The backing vocals came in. I was like, "Why can't you do that with the lead vocals?"
Oh yeah, there's a YouTube channel I've been watching. Michael Nolan. I love this guy's channel. He kind of reminds me of like of Jack Saunders. Like if Jack Saunders was like a radio DJ, he's got kind of the same hair. Michael Nolan, he's got this delivery on his YouTube. He kind of talks to the camera like, hey, and here's the thing. But he's been off on Mötley Crüe for like the past couple months because they got nailed for using backing tracks and stuff, and they're like almost nothing they're doing is live now apparently. So he's like, that's not, this is not acceptable. This is not cool.
Yeah.
Apparently that's a thing. I wouldn't have known about it if it wasn't for him.
But it's so, and we have many times here on SlapperCast, episode 259. This and before, we've always not made fun of, but we just it's torturous to me to see a band playing with backing tracks. Only if, I mean, it's just hard to. I just don't like backing tracks. Because people think it's really easy to do that. It's not easy. But what's more difficult is to get a band together and to learn that and to play it well. So
yeah,
but still, the backing tracks to me it's just a cop out. I don't like it. I never have. And again, it's only my opinion. It's nothing against bands that do it. However, when I saw that clip, when the backing vocals came in after he finished ejaculating into the mic, I mean, whatever the hell he was doing, it was so bad. It was so. Obviously, the vocal was bad. The production was so perfect on the backing track, on the chorus. It was the same. I would sonically, it would be the same to me as if you were listening to a very, very, very well produced CD, and then you put on a scratched old record. Well, obviously, the other way. So the LP first, scratchy and hissy and needle jumping and all that stuff, and then you listen to the CD, because it was that the change in tone and sonically were so far apart, and it was why would you do that? So anyway, God, are we the only people that have gone from Elvis to Mötley Crüe? Has that ever happened before? And for those listening at home, our deepest apologies. But
yes,
your friend. Oh, and I also want to say too, on the last episode too, I went off on this John Sykes. I still love John Sykes. I think he's one of the great guitar players of our time. However, definitely an acquired taste. He plays a lot way too many notes for a lot of people's taste. But we were doing the Thin Lizzy, which we're going to be continued. We were doing the Thin Lizzy chat. And one of the comments on there was saying how Robbo was overlooked in our episode. I do not discount nor overlook Robbo Brian Robertson at any moment. I think Brian Robertson's phenomenal. I was, again, in my very short-sighted, I'm the world champion grudge holder as well. I don't know if you know that, but I'm still pissed off at Brian Robertson for getting in a bar fight and fucking up. So many things that went wrong, but I'm still pissed off at him about that. It's not his fault. It's not his fault.
Yeah,
but
he was just a kid.
I know. A
kid.
Yeah.
So it's great. You see the interviews with him in the past 30 years. He's like, yeah, I fucked up.
Yeah.
He's grown up, and in the meantime, who would have thought? But yeah, he was only 17 when Philo hired him. I mean,
yeah, and his work it's phenomenal. I mean, it's so beautiful. Then he went on to play with Motorhead, and he did a phenomenal job in Motorhead. The only thing is, he's so stubborn. He decided he would do short shorts and leg warmers in Motorhead. I don't know if you know Motorhead, but it's kind of like
so it's worse than Snowy White.
Yeah, it's kind of like Vince Neil in vocal lessons. It's like, why are you even trying? It's just awful. But anyway, back to Robbo. So I never discount nor overlook Brian Robertson and his contribution to Thin Lizzy. I think he's phenomenal. I think he's just an amazing. I think what I'd like to do is I'd like to. I mean, if all of our Thin Lizzy fans, fellow Thin Lizzy lovers, watch Gary Moore's tribute to Phil at the RDS in Dublin. Just watch that show where all the lads come out. They all do tremendous work. They all do. They really did Phil Lynott proud. They did Thin Lizzy proud on that night. And it really does. It makes me tear up. To see the evolution of that band and to see how beautiful those songs are and how a lot of those songs, again, like to the early point, sounded dated, but the music, the production sounded a little dated, but those songs hold up today. And even if you're not a hard rock fan, I guarantee you would find a lot to love in Thin Lizzy. I bet everything on it.
I have to say that for these past few episodes, where we've been digging into them so much more than we have. Well, we've always talked about them, but because of especially of that the 2 episodes we've done on them now, I've been digging into them a lot more than I have in a while. And I before this, I really only kind of listened to their later 70s stuff. I hadn't really tucked into the early stuff. So I'm been really enjoying. I started listening to Nightlife the other day for the first time. Like, this is so fucking good.
Yeah.
And so I'm really looking forward to digging into those albums. I just Johnny the Fox, Nightlife, Shades of Blue Orphanage, and all these ones. I need and Vagabonds. I've heard Vagabonds before, but it's been a long time.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm really looking forward to that. There was a guy I found on YouTube. Another quick side note, named Phil Aston. I think he's got a channel called Now Spinning, and an English guy, huge Lizzy fan, and he has a video. That's how I found him. Is like he's got a video where he's ranking all the studio albums, and he puts unapologetically he puts Black Rose last. That's like and he says, it's not because I don't like it. It's just that, in my opinion, it just doesn't hold a candle to all these other ones. Can you guess what he put number 1?
What album?
Yeah. It's just a hint. It's not strictly studio albums.
Oh, okay. Live and Dangerous?
Yes. Yeah. And he says like, I know they say it's not really live. Is that I don't care. I mean, you can't. This album is just, the collection of songs is just amazing. And it was from him that I found out about in a different video about that huge box set that came out that's out of print now, the 8 CD or 8 LP, whatever version it is of. I had no idea what they did is they put out a collection, remastered the original album as it is, as we know it, but they also included, I guess, every single concert that album was sourced from, because it's not just, in case you don't know, Live and Dangerous is not one show. It's like 8-10 shows or something in all these different places. So you get all those concerts in their entirety as well, all recorded on multi-track and remixed. And he says, I haven't heard any of it, but he says that it still sounds great. You can hear the track, because obviously Live and Dangerous is notorious for having a lot of overdubs and fixes on it, where Phil redid his vocals and the guitars were overdubbed and stuff. So you get to hear what the original tracks were before they fixed them up, and they still sound great. That's what he says. I'm dying to hear that.
Yeah. So this is from my friend Kelly Navarro, but there's a I Want to Shine a Light on a Thin Lizzy song. It's on Life Live, but it's also on Live and Dangerous is the Suicide Live. Oh. So good. Anyway, and then kill a song. I'm just going to kill a live performance by Mötley Crüe. So that's me. But yeah, we'll probably we shall. This shall be continued. We'll take this slap to the van and we'll head north. What do you say?
Let's do it.
Let's do it. Onwards. Cheers, y'all.
Here we are.
Oh, we're back.
We're back.
Hey, it's SlapperCast again.
Yeah.
What episode?
It's still episode 259. 259. Yeah.
259. We are just leaving a little place called Salad in Texas, just north of Houston, just south of Oklahoma. And we played our first time ever at a place called the Wounded Ostrich. Welcome to SlapperCast. Again, why are we doing another one? Well, because we didn't have Turbo the last time, because he was Doc Curious, we'll say. No, I'm just kidding. Oh my God. Okay, that's enough. That's Title, you're Doc Curious. That's good. We're traveling south, approximately 68 miles an hour. The temperature is 39 degrees, as you can probably tell by my winter coat. Chad, you got a coat on? Yeah. Turbo, you wrapped up?
Yep, I got my jacket.
Wrapped up like a docker. We just played first time ever at the Wounded Ostrich in Deep Ellum. Dallas, Texas. Let me tell you, kids. Aggie owned, I think. Charles and Christian running sound, and Chase and Andrew behind the bar, Blaine at the front door. I'm going to tell you, that's a great club.
Yes.
That is a fun club, and I have to thank everybody that came out, all our crew that came out. What a phenomenal night! I look forward to playing that place again.
Yeah, we had I swear like half the people in the bar were Aggies. That was something else.
I want to say that's the second time that we've ever played the War Hymn outside College Station.
Yeah.
Second?
We've done it in, what was that?
Washington?
Yeah, outside of Washington.
Was that the only time we've done it?
There might have been another time.
I think we might have done it in Houston. I want to say we did it in Houston one time.
We did it like at T-Bone's once, I think, too.
Yeah, but...
for like 2
Wow,
hours.
it's just a couple times.
Yeah. It's like Phyllis Butler's Red Rose Cafe, or the Hibernias in Little Rock, Arkansas. You just don't take it outside. I mean, that's theirs. She owns that. Mm-hmm. And she will drop kick you in the fucking throat. I just had a ball tonight.
Yeah.
I had an absolute ball tonight. What about y'all?
Absolutely.
Yeah, dude, had a blast.
Yeah.
When are we going back?
I know.
I'll turn this shit around right now.
Let's go.
That was not at all what I was expecting.
What were you expecting, Chad?
I don't know. I mean, we played places up in Dallas many, many times. It's not often enough, but I think the thing is we've been doing these here because several people said, well, we saw you at the Grapevine Festival, we saw you at Sherman or whatever.
Which we're doing in April.
Yeah, so
2 days.
There's something to say. It's, the past 10, 15 years, in the early days, we used to come up here, we played Tipperary Inn, that place closed, so that didn't finish, and then there was a couple other bars we hit.
Yes, I'm glad you said that.
Nothing ever landed.
I'm good knowing it, but let me say this too.
Yeah.
I'm not going to name the bar because I detest the place. I said this. We arrived at the place. Let's just call it McSilly, right? town was called McSilly, just outside of Dallas. And we get a phone call, yeah, come up and play for us, big fans, blah, blah, blah. All right, so we go, great, come up. We have a PA. We have everything you need. We show up, there wasn't even fucking mic stands there.
No mic stands.
A friend of ours, a very, very, very wonderful friend of ours, went out and purchased 3 mic stands, and not just shit mic stands, not just the pro stage, those plastic ones.
Shit.
He bought us the ones with the weighted bottoms on them.
Justin. Thank you, Justin.
Justin, yes. So we got the show going eventually. And then, anyway, long story short, that's probably already too long to say that, but it was a very, very crappy night for us. And we played a couple other places. We played at one time, we played the night before the Grapevine Festival at a bar. And it was one of those things where they kind of churned the bands through, and sound was just really loud. Sound guy was okay from what I remember, but it was so loud that people that came to see it was a metal show. Everything was a metal show. That was another very forgettable night. We've just played these places, so we were always kind of expecting to have that just moderately warm reception, tepid reception, and just can't wait to get out of there. Not tonight. Every song was fun, great sized stage, nicely designed room.
Sold tons of gear. Sold out of shit.
We're sold out of everything.
I think there's the most LPs we sold in one night at a show, I think. Like everybody was buying LPs.
Uh-oh, don't tell Merch Maiden and Tara. Irish Maiden.
Shots fired.
Irish Maiden and Merch
It's the
Maiden.
most that I've sold,
Yeah.
I'll say that.
Yeah, it was nonstop.
Yeah, signed t-shirts, signed belly buttons, signed, it was amazing. Signed on the lake house. Hey! What a great fucking night. What a great night. I just, Charles and all the gang up there really know what they're doing. And it's in Deep Ellum, which, I don't know if I've ever mentioned this. I probably shouldn't say this aloud, but I lived in Dallas for a very, very short time. There's a song called Second Worst Girlfriend. It comes from my experience. That's enough. Deep Ellum was not like that. And it's very gentrified now. So the streets are narrow, and they're one way, and they're not one way, but they're very narrow. Their parking's limited, and if you want to park here, you got to do it right. But the Wounded Ostrich, Deep Ellum, Dallas, Texas, they're doing it right.
Yeah.
Bartenders are great.
Yeah.
Sound guy Christian, great, and they have a wonderful backstage area with coffee, with snacks, with water, with all kinds of stuff, and it's just nice that they thought of all of that.
Yeah.
People always build the club, they're in the club, and then it's 3 or 4 months into it, they go, hey, let's put a stage there, right? Put a little triangle there, the band will go there, crap sound. No, they decked it out. They hung the speakers, they put the subs onto the stage. The place is kicking.
Yeah.
I think the Wounded Ostrich got wounded from rock and roll.
Yeah.
And Turbo just flew in this morning on Alaska Airlines.
Oh, yeah.
No windows, no doors. The flights are really cheap. But so he was at the SJC. Why don't you tell him?
I went down to SJC. They had about a dozen of their drummers come in from all over. Man, we got to meet all these people, and it was a big event. Man, it was just, I just got to say, it was really cool. Like this one guy, Patrick, was there. He's the drummer of a band, Ice Nine Kills.
Who are they opening for?
Metallica.
Never heard of them.
Me neither. But they're doing like a 2-year deal with them, and just, talking stories. And man, there's just all kinds of kids there from 4 years old. I mean, you're just taking pictures with them, and they just want to hang out with you. Like, and then I'm like a fan of some of these guys that are there. And so, I'm there, they're taking pictures with me, and then I'm taking pictures with other people. So it was really cool. So Mike, owner of SJC, nice job. Volcom, nice job.
The SJC drum. So he's got the 2 kids, 3 kids actually.
3 kids.
So he's got the 2 kids here in America, but that kid tonight sounded thunderous.
Yeah.
It was earth shaking.
Yeah.
Really, really, really. I mean, like I said, having the subs under your feet.
Yeah.
It's really nice.
Yeah.
It's so full, man. She's such a good kid. Yeah, it was a good time. We met a lot of cool people, and they did a lot of little drum demos where all the drummers, all of us, we sat down and played, and we did little duels together, and
Cool.
Man, that's really cool. So a mixed array of players from, you know, kids that were 10 years old and, you know, seasoned guys like some of those older guys in there. But
yeah.
One thing I want to say about SJC is that there's so many companies out there nowadays. We were talking to some guys and he's like, I'm like, man, you should be sponsored by everybody. Like this is a, you know, just a guy at that level right now. And he's like, man, they just don't do it like that anymore.
Yes.
And, you know, these companies just they don't act, it's just not the same as it was 10, 20 years ago.
So what's happening now is, and correct me if I'm wrong, like that's happening.
Good night, folks.
The greed. All right, just take it from the start at Spotify and Pandora and all these streaming services, right? And they give you fractions of a penny, right? Per play, blah blah blah. Same thing with everybody wants to get so much. They have to get so much. They have to. So back in the day, when ProMark or Evans or any of these people that were sponsoring their drummers, or Marshall or Gibson, or they would do these deals, and it was lucrative for both sides. You know, for the guitar, for the artist and the manufacturer, because they would promote. So what they did was they watered everything down so much to where, you know, it's the same thing with those bands that get to go on these big tours. A lot of them is pay to play. You have to pay the band, these headliners, you have to pay them so much money to open for them. But you will recoup that in sales and stuff. But again, you're starting out in the red. Why would you do that? You know, I mean, yes, if we were going to go on a stadium tour, yes, I would pay. Absolutely would pay. But it shouldn't be like that. If you're guaranteed, if you're worth your salt, you can go on before anybody and bring everybody in, warm them up, do your job.
Yep.
Hard 45, hard 90 minutes, whatever you get, make sure that there's no downtime, that you go in and you destroy, right? But what's happened is with all these deals is, and I don't mind paying costs. I don't mind paying the cost for the thing. But when I had the Diamond deal, I mean, I got free guitars all the time. Too many guitars. And those guys were phenomenal. They set my guitars up. They tuned my amp. They just made sure that everything was taken care of. But that was one of the last people that I know that would give you a really good deal. That's all I played was Diamond guitars and Diamond amps. That's all I played. That's all, everywhere we went. The thing I love about SJC is the energy behind them, and those guys live it. When you arrived at the store, at the factory, they were as happy and as giddy as you were, and I didn't think that you could be matched. I mean, I really didn't. Because I saw you when you left, and I saw you on camera. Good work, kid. I saw you when you went through the door, and I was like, man, they matched you on that. That was impressive.
Yeah, I just watched, Mike. I just want to give a shout out to him. He's the owner, and I mean, he put attention to everybody. Every level of drummer they have, everybody. And I just was like, man, he doesn't have to do that. And that dude worked harder than anybody in there. I mean, and it's really cool to be part of it. It was really cool. They had all of us take like a big photo, kind of out, like all the drummers take, and man, you could just feel everybody was kind of like leaning into each other, like, oh man, like everybody here is all across the United States, people from all over.
Yeah,
and they're only here. They're here together because of that company.
Yeah,
and I don't know any other company that's doing that. I really don't. And maybe there is. I just don't know. But
can you tell the kind folks who SJC's biggest
drummer
is?
I mean, they have Trey Cool of Green Day. They've got Josh of 21 Pilots. They've got
putting you on the spot.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of some of their other big names.
Yeah, but I mean, Green Day alone.
Yeah, I mean, they're top of the line. So it's probably their two biggest. But they got all kinds of big players in there.
And the manufacturing, the job that they do. When you showed up with both of those kids here, I was just my jaw dropped. And you just
I mean, when I was there, they had this, they're cutting out these, the kind of the emblems that go on the outside of the drums.
Yeah.
And they had like all these kind of on this tray thing, and I was like, oh man, you guys are doing a lot. She goes, no. The gal there, Chris, is like, no, basically these are like the throwaways. They got to be perfect. Like, I'm like, that. I looked at it, I go, man, that looks great. She's like, no, see this little thing right here? And I'm like, no. But I was like, man, they're not going to give you something that's garbage. They're not going to cut a corner.
That's what I mean. I mean, that's really hard to find when you see all these little, I really only know the guitars, but you see these little $100 Squire, bullshit guitars at Guitar Center, and people are buying them because it's only $100. You don't understand. You're not going to play that. You're not going to enjoy that. SJC, you're getting practically handcrafted. I mean,
you're going to get a kit for life.
Yeah.
The thing is, if you get a custom kit from them, I mean, you can call them up and get a custom kit built. They'll work with you, and you're buying a kit for life. Like you're not. This is your kit for life. Like it's going to last you a life. It's going to outlast you.
If you want,
it's an investment. I go,
yes,
man, why would you not get something like that?
If you're serious about playing music, then you get good stuff.
Yeah.
If you're not, then you just go buy the $100 crap at Guitar Center. But let me just take this moment to say that our friends at Texas Music Emporium, Rockin' Robin, Andrew's Music, all these local shops that we do business in all the time. Let me tell you right now, those guys will take such good care of you. And I ask people over and over again, if you're going to buy that $100 Squire, I promise you, if you go to Texas Music Emporium, you go to any of these places, they will give you a much better guitar. It won't be the same price. It'll be very close, but you'll have a guitar that you will enjoy playing. And these guitars are set up for you, so you take it home and it doesn't feel like your fingers are doing push-ups on the, trying to hold the strings down.
Yeah.
You're destroying your will, or you're destroying your creativity when you play a crap instrument like that. When you play a good instrument, it sparks, it pushes you,
I was gonna bring my custom kit down to him, and we had that freeze, that bad weather.
Yeah.
And then so I got to get back down there, but like you said, the Tour Series kit I have is thunderous. He's gonna work on my custom kit a little bit, and it sounds great. Don't get me wrong. We played live, it sounds great, but I'm like, I want a little different sound.
Yeah.
So he's gonna help me, get on, kind of tech that one up a little bit.
Yeah.
Show me what I need. But
again, this hands-on service that you can't get.
Yeah.
When you drop it off at Guitar Center, it's a number on a ticket, and they don't give an absolute fuck. I mean, they'll just bring you, they'll tighten some bolts and they'll send it back. These guys work with you and they fix it, and it's just.
Dude, I don't want to call this kid out, but remember we had that mic that was spitting out for a couple shows?
Yeah.
Wait, a year or two ago. And I took that mic down and I go, man, this thing is spitting. Something's wrong with it. And he's like, hooks it up to the little testers, like, oh, it sounds good. And I'm like, no, man, look, we're playing all the time. I'm telling you right now, dude, I've changed chords. Remember I bought all those chords? Mm-hmm. I was like, dude, something's wrong. And he just brushed me off. I'm like,
fuck you.
I just was so mad. I was like, so then I just bought another mic because I'm like, I don't have time to argue with this guy. We were getting ready to leave for another show. So I go, well, give me another mic. And I'm like, I still have that mic sitting in my house. I was like, busted mic. I just eventually was like, I got the new one. And I was like, forget the old one. But he didn't want to help me. Like,
no, I know. But
you had the same experience with the cables. Remember that?
Yeah. No, they're good. I'm like, but it's having a problem. Like,
yeah. So, what's next?
I had a fun time tonight.
That was great.
That was fun.
That was a really fun time. And I'm really looking forward to getting back there. That's a special room.
It is. Yeah. What's next? We got Huntsville. We got Hunts Vegas.
12th Street.
And Log On and Beaumont.
Yes, Beaumont. 12th Street Bar. In there's going to be a few bands, a lot of bands that we haven't seen before. So if you get a chance, head on. Our Houston friends, head up north to Huntsville and 12th Street Bar. We played there once before. Really looking forward to get back doing that again. And then Log On Cafe in Beaumont. We've always had a ball there.
Yeah.
So I think our friends from the Southeast Texas Renaissance Festival will be there too. So
Nice.
a lot of fun. We haven't been doing this because we've been focusing a lot on the Shane MacGowan, the Thin LIzzy, and the Elvis and all that stuff. We haven't done this. I'm just going to shine a light. I'm not going to kill anything, but I was listening to Mark Knopfler's record the other day, not the new one. He just released a new one last week.
Yeah.
And I heard a couple of tracks off, very good. But I was listening to a song called Skydiving, Out of This World. I'm just shining a light on that. Kelly Navarro, Shining a Light. Beautiful, beautiful song. Harmonies for days. And if you're, and then one more. Bright Sunshiny Day. I'm not a fan of that song, but there's a band called the Hot House Flowers, band out of Ireland. They do a cover of that song. Holy crap. Get a chance, listen to that. Side note, we've been getting shit from them. They go, I don't like killing songs. Okay, so we just, yeah, whatever. So.
Yeah, I'm going to mention a song. I haven't actually said this on the Thin LIzzy show, but there is a song on Vagabonds of the Western World called Songs for All the Way, which is actually, they took that title for the documentary that came out last or 2 years ago. Which is a really great documentary about Philo. I think it's sanctioned by his family, or it was endorsed by his family because his daughters are in it. Really great documentary. But anyway, the song A Song for While I'm Away off of Vagabonds is incredible. And I'm kind of new to listening to a lot of their early stuff. I really was only familiar with like Jailbreak going forward. And so this has been really fun going back and listening to these older records. The Song for While I'm Away, we were talking about the Elvis influence on Philo the last couple of episodes. What an Elvis fan he was. It's not there. There are some really obvious Elvis stuff on Shades of Blue Orphanage, as Patrick was mentioning before. This one is a little. It's definitely obvious, but it's like not as overt because it starts off with this gorgeous. It's a ballad, and it's in 6/4 or 3/4 time, and he's playing this amazing arpeggio on the bass. His bass line is like this descending arpeggio. It's almost like a Beatle-esque kind of thing. If you listen to it, it's just absolutely gorgeous. And then he gets into the chorus, and it's just like something Elvis would have done in his later Vegas years. Or you are my life. It's fucking gorgeous. So please, if the only LIzzy stuff you know is like Jailbreak and Cowboy Song, which I love all that stuff too, you gotta go and listen to Vagabonds. The whole record is great, but that song especially is, I think, my favorite Thin LIzzy song right now. It'll probably change next week, but yeah.
I'm gonna shine a light on a song, One Day Bastard. It's on the new Green Day album. So I don't really know what's my favorite song on it yet. I just got into it a couple days ago, but I think overall this whole record's like, you know, when you take a band and you can tell that they've really matured and honed what it is that they do. That's this record to me. I'm like, man, from front to back, I'm like, this thing is. I was hoping you jump on that. I'm into it. So I just got started into it. So, you know, I recommend it. I've got this thing blasted. Cool. I already know later tonight I'm gonna have this thing cranked. But
that sounds super awesome.
Super awesome. But I'm gonna shine a light on that one song right now because there's this really cool little fill in there that I was telling you about. I'm like, can I borrow that?
Yeah.
It's really cool.
You gotta play it for us.
I will.
Yeah.
I haven't heard the Green Day yet, but
it's so good.
But I'm gonna tell you, all these songs that we mentioned today, if you're at work or you're bored, I would look up these songs because this will. It's definitely they're all in different directions. You know, they're all different tastes. But I think I would be very shocked if somebody didn't like all of those songs. Like I said, I haven't heard the Green Day, but I've been really impressed with the evolution of their sound. And,
absolutely.
And those guys just play so well. Such a great band.
Yeah.
Oh, and I never thought I'd like them. Our friend Lorene likes them too, I think.
Yeah.
So, all right. Why don't you go about your day? Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. Thank you for hitting subscribe and anyway, talk to you later.
All right, we'll see you next week, folks.
Boss.
What?